With Andy at respite, Anna at work, and the girls both with their mum, it seemed like a pretty good opportunity for us to carry on with the Q&A that we started live last week and promised that I would continue with. Hello folks and welcome to today's vlog. Today's vlog is a continuation of the live Q&A that we did last Tuesday, but obviously not live. So I've collated together some of the questions that didn't get answered on the live thing. I asked for questions to be submitted on the community page of the channel yesterday. Another one of those reasons why you should be subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, because when we do randomly decide to do these Q&As, and I did only announce this about 2 hours before I've sat down to record it, then if you're subscribed with notifications on, it pops up in your sub box to let you know I've put a post on there. You can make sure you get your questions in and answered. As ever, I asked for people to thumbs up the questions they most wanted to see an answer to. So if we don't get round to your question this time, it's not because I don't want to do it, it's that it didn't have as many thumbs ups as some of the other questions to fit into a reasonably length video. Ask it again next time, and you never know, we might get round to answering it. But without further ado, let's get into the Q&A. I've selected, I think, about 10 questions, the 10 most popular ones that weren't repetitive either from what we did on the live one last week or weren't the same as other questions that were asked today. So 10 pretty decent and varied questions, starting with this one from DJF Vlogs, who says, what would I do if Andy got bullied? Bullied how, when and where? I guess that's the question, because he goes to a specialist school and he largely has one-to-one support, although that he is being sort of eased off of one-to-one support now, so he's not constantly got somebody with him, but there is always an adult in the room who's allocated to him, although they're not necessarily working directly with Andy. But there's not really the opportunity at school for anyone to bully him. I'm not sure where else he could be bullied. Respite, again, there's a one-to-one ratio. I think it's more than one-to-one, actually, of adults to children. I think they only ever have 4 or 5 kids in there at a time, and there's usually at least half a dozen adults in there. So I don't see how there'd be any opportunity for him to be bullied there. He won't be bullied at home because there's no one to bully him. So I don't think the opportunity is there for him to get bullied. If circumstances changed and he was bullied at school or at respite, I think the thing to do, and this is the teacher in me coming out here, I guess, but just talk to the teachers, identify what the issue is and work on solving the problem. So work out who's bullying him, why they're bullying him, and fix it. Make it so that either the people who are doing it aren't able to get to him anymore, or the reasons they're doing it for don't apply anymore, or make sure it's policed better by whoever the adults in the situation are, whether it's the school or the respite or us here at home. But I guess that's how we deal with the actual issue itself. And then aside from that, we obviously need to make sure that we help Andy through it as well. So if he's struggling with it, just kind of try and explain to him that it's not his fault. It's just a moron being a moron, because as everybody knows, all bullies are morons. So they're not really anyone that you need to concern yourselves with, because they're just idiots who are doing it to make themselves feel better because they've got no other way to feel good. I don't know how I'd put that across to Andy, but I think the key for Andy, specific advice would be just nip it in the bud. Find out why and when it's happening and make sure it can't happen anymore. Like I say, it hasn't ever happened. I don't see it ever happening, which is awesome. Max asks, how do I feel about Andy's meltdown video being the most popular on the channel, and have the girls witness one of the meltdowns? Do you think they'll help? That feels like 3 questions, Max. Let's do them in reverse order. They don't help when he has a meltdown because we ask them not to. Way back when, that was the arrangement we came up with. If he has a meltdown, the best thing for them to do is to just clear the area, leave the room, leave him to it. So they don't help because we've asked them not to help. And they have seen him have meltdowns loads of times. You can't live with him and not see him having meltdowns. Certainly in the past, these days not so much, but there were times in the past where it was a daily occurrence for quite a number of years. So yes, they saw it happen. They saw it happen a lot. And that's where we developed the strategies of just getting them as far away from it happening as possible. To answer question 1, last, how do I feel about the meltdown video being the most popular on the channel? Obviously, from a creator standpoint, my ideal would be for my best videos or our best videos to be the most popular ones, and that one is a long way away from being one of our best videos. So from that side of things, I wish some of our theme park trips were higher up the list, or some of my convention vlogs, some of the stuff that I put the most time and effort and care into, the ones that I work the hardest on. They're the ones that I want to be the most popular ones, but I can't control what people are interested in and what they want to see. And you also can't argue with the fact that that video being out there is doing an awful lot of good with raising awareness of the side of autism that you don't necessarily see a lot of, and really showing a sort of really quite raw family situation, a family at breaking point, total desperation point, and it does act as a nice starting point for the story of the next year and a half that shows everything getting better. So I think it's a useful jumping on point for someone new to the channel, because they can see how bad things got at the very worst point. But I'm not completely naive. I am aware there are a lot of people out there who just watch the video because they like to laugh at the autistic kid having a meltdown. And those people I've got absolutely no time for. I don't want their stinking view. I don't want the tiny little proportion of a penny of ad revenue that their dirty little view gives us. I don't want them anywhere near my channel. I block them whenever they turn up in the comments, and I wish they hadn't have watched. And if that, there's no way of me knowing what percentage of the 2.5 million people who've seen that video were just there to have a giggle. It could be 1,000, it could be 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. I would take every one of the views away for every person who's ever laughed at that video, because I don't need the views, the money, the subscribers. And I don't think any of those people have subscribed or earned us any money. I think it's unrealistic to expect to put a video like that out there not expecting there to be a trolly negative reaction from some elements of the internet, because it's just the nature of how the world is. And I do think that that video is doing a lot more good than it is creating negativity. And all that being said, I don't feel the need to ever do another one. I think we've made that point now. We've shown that video. People can see what a meltdown is like. For as long as meltdowns continue to be like that for Andy, there's no reason for us to do a repeat trick. So anyone who has subscribed to the channel because they're looking for another video of Andy having a meltdown like that, I can confidently say there will never be another video of Andy having a meltdown like that, because we've done that and we don't need to keep doing it. It was an important video to share awareness and let everybody into that little section of all of our lives just that once, so that we had a point to refer back to, so people could see how it really is from all perspectives. But I think if you keep going back to the well, even though I know full well I could poke Andy with a stick once a week and upset him and get a video of him crying and it would get a million views, I obviously don't have any reason to do that, because I'm not an absolute psychopath. So yeah, it has its positives and negatives, to answer your question, Max. Finn Piggy says, what kind of job does Andy want when he's older? He was asked at school, they did a careers thing at school, and he said he wanted to be a cameraman. Now, I see that as he wants to be a YouTuber, because he sees that's what I do as a job. The only jobs he really sees or has ever seen is me being a YouTuber and Anna working in the co-op, when we've been in there to see Anna in the co-op. I don't think he fancies working in the co-op, so to him there's probably only those two choices, and he likes what I do more than what she does. But hopefully by setting up through Andy's eyes and having that monetized and having that all in his name and allowing him to start earning some income on there, in an ideal world, that builds to the point where it really could become his job when he's older, which would be the perfect situation for everybody, because he loves doing it and people seem to enjoy watching it. So if that channel could build up to the point where it could provide him with an income, if it's good enough for his dad and it's something he loves to do, then I think he would absolutely love to do something like that when he's older as a job. Erin says, compared to when Andy was first diagnosed, what do you think has changed the most when it comes to people's views on autism, whether that be with family or just the general public? General public, I can't really speak for, because I was completely unaware of anything to do with autism, really. I wasn't around when Andy was first diagnosed, for a start. He'd been diagnosed 3 or 4 years when I first met him, but I knew literally like that much about autism when I first met Anna. I always tell people that when we first started chatting through the eHarmony app before we'd even met, she mentioned that she had a son who had ASD, and I had to Google what ASD was because I didn't know. I had no idea what those initials could possibly stand for. So I came into this from a standpoint of not knowing anything at all about autism. So from my point of view, obviously my understanding of and attitudes towards autism is a constantly developing process. And I think that's the same for all of us in the family. We all understand more as time goes on and work on improving as time goes on. Society in general, I don't know where it was 10 years ago, 8 years ago. All I know is here where we are today, we're still a long way away from where we need to be. So it's definitely an ongoing process. What is Kev like off camera? Even better looking than he appears in videos. Jacob Harris asks, how's Andy coping with his laptop now? He's absolutely fine with it now. He's been using it. He used it all of Saturday pretty much while I was down in London and at the football. Anna tells me that he was using his laptop without any issues at all. When I came downstairs on Monday morning, before I took him to respite, he was sat there using his laptop, absolutely fine. He's got no issues with it at all. I don't know what the issue was that caused the meltdown last week. I doubt we'll ever know. I don't know if it was directly caused by the laptop or just caused by the stuff that had gone on at school that day and the laptop was the final straw, or who knows what it was. But yeah, he's absolutely fine with the laptop now. No idea. Hannah asks, do me and Anna plan on getting married? Yes, we do. Alan asks, why do the girls call Anna Anneka and everyone else calls her Anna? Because her name is Anneka, but she prefers to be called Anna. But when I first introduced her to the girls, I introduced her as Anneka, and it kind of stuck. And now they've tried calling her Anna. They've experimented with it. They say it feels weird in their mouth, so they don't do it. They just carry on calling her what they were introduced to her as, what she's always been. So, I mean, it is her name, and the rest of her family call her Anneka as well. It's people she's met as an adult, really, who call her Anna. Childhood friends, family, they all call her Anneka. Everyone she's met since living with me calls her Anna. So I didn't come up with it. That's what she told me she preferred to be called when I first met her. So that's what I've always called her. And because of that, that's what she is on the internet. Because that's what Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all them call her. Lottie asks, can we rank ourselves, including me, from who is most excited to least excited for Disney? So I would say without question I'm the most excited. I am counting down the days. I am giddy with excitement. I've been singing about it. I am so excited. Closely followed by Andy, who is talking about it a lot as well. And then I think Anna and the girls are all a reasonable level of excitement. Me and Andy are way over any kind of excitement scale you could put in place. We are both far too excited for a trip that's still over a month away. But the girls, including Anna, they're all very excited too. We are all, I mean, as I keep telling everybody, for us, it's a once in a lifetime thing. I'm 36 years old and I've never been to any Disney park anywhere. The girls, Andy, none of us have ever been to Disney. It's just not something that we've ever thought we would be able to do. The fact that we are able to do it while the kids are still kids, Lucy's still just about classed as a kid at age 17, the fact we're getting to do it, it's probably our last ever family holiday, all five of us. Coincidentally, also our first ever family holiday, all five of us, because we just never have gone on one. So it's our first and last opportunity to go on holiday as a five. It's just, yeah, I'm so excited. It's not even that it's Disney. It's just every part of it is so exciting. And I cannot wait at all. I cannot wait. I would go right now and let them catch me up. That's how excited I am. Ben asks, what games do I have for the Switch? It would be easier to ask me what games I don't have. I think if you went on to Metacritic and and looked at the best Switch games and looked at every game that's had above a 75 rating, or every game published by Nintendo apart from Splatoon 2, and I've got them. I've got all the Mario and Zelda-y stuff. Yeah, just lots of the little indie games on download as well. Far more games on Switch than I would ever get round to playing. But I do love it. It's my favourite console ever. I adore the Switch. LRSC Gaming asks, do I think that there's stuff Andy might not like about Disneyland, and do I think he might want to come home early? I think there probably is going to be stuff he doesn't like. I don't think he'll like the shopping element of it. He doesn't like going around shops at the best of times. So I think that might be something we have to be quite tactical with, because the other four of us all want to have a good opportunity to wander around the Disney Village, go to the different shops in various parts of the park, and really have a proper nose through all of the tacky Disney stuff that we could have a look at. But Andy will hate that. So I think we have to be quite careful about how we split ourselves up in groups and make sure that the four of us who want to do that get the opportunity to do it. Andy can have the chance to look, but he's certainly not going to want to go back to any shops for a second time or take his time walking around them. So I think that he'll really not enjoy. He won't enjoy restaurant dining experiences. He never does. He'd be happy for us to go back to the hotel room for all 3 meals every day, but we don't want to do that. And we've paid for half board as well. So we've got meals in restaurants, so I don't think he'll necessarily like that. I think he will enjoy all the rides. I don't think he'll enjoy meeting the characters. If we do any of that kind of things, I don't think he'll enjoy waiting for parades, but I think he'll love the fireworks. So I think there's a lot of positives. He will have a good time, but we just have to be quite smart about how we manage it to make sure that everybody gets to have a good time. Do I think he'll want to come home early? Probably not. He knows how long we're going for, so he's got that expectation in his mind. As long as he is happy to have his iPad put onto the hotel Wi-Fi, and the hotel Wi-Fi works. The only thing that could make him want to leave early, I think, is not having the internet. But he knows he's got a night in a Premier Inn, 3 nights at Disney, and then another night in a Premier Inn on the way home. So he knows he's away from home for 5 nights. He's excited about it. I don't think he'll want to leave early. I think the fear will be wanting to go back to the hotel room early. So if we're not really careful with him about how we plan out our days, he could get to the point where it's lunchtime and he's done in the parks and he wants to go back and just sit in the hotel room on his iPad. So I think, again, we're going to have to manage that, because we know he's excited to see the fireworks, for example. So he needs to be in the parks at least once to see the fireworks, because we'll all regret it if he does, or if we all don't get to see it. But he particularly is excited about the fireworks. So it's just about managing everyone's expectations to make sure we all get the best out of the holiday. Alfie Ford asks, what's my favourite musical? I don't think I could name a musical. Is Frozen a musical? I know of it. I don't do musicals. I don't really do films. Or are musicals films? I don't do theatre, certainly. Zoe asks, would I still be teaching if I didn't do YouTube full time, or did I fancy a career change anyway? If it wasn't for YouTube, I don't think I'd still be teaching. I think I'd be teaching again now. I've said from right back before I even left teaching, if this whole YouTube thing falls through and I end up having to go back and get a real job again, the only real job I'm interested in doing is teaching. I loved being a teacher. It was great. And I would go back to it tomorrow if circumstances dictated I had to. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy this, so hopefully I get to do this forever. But if I ever have to have a real job again, it will be that. That being said, YouTube wasn't the reason I left teaching. And the reason I left teaching would have been a valid reason, even if YouTube hadn't been a viable replacement income. So I would have had to have left teaching when I did to get Andy back to school. Our family was at breaking point. It was the only option. And I mean, anyone who was following that story at the time, I think I'd have to go back and look at the numbers to double check. But I think the month I handed in my notice at school, and bearing in mind I gave like 8 months notice, so I gave myself a nice long run up, but I think the month I handed in my notice I made maybe £150-200 from YouTube across both channels. I didn't resign because I knew YouTube would replace my income. I resigned because I had to get Andy back to school. I had to save our family, and YouTube just happened to be something that I could throw myself into in my spare time, in my evenings, early mornings before school, and just try and build that up to the point where that could help us make ends meet. So I didn't leave for YouTube. I would have left anyway. But if YouTube hadn't taken off the way it has, I think I probably would have gone back after a year. I would have done that first year, got Andy back to school, got him comfortable again, and then gone back to teaching after a year. And we'd have worked out what to do from there, because I think certainly within 6 or 7 months of him being back, we were fairly comfortable that he was back and he wasn't going to stop going again. I don't think I need to be here in the mornings to make him go anymore. I think if it was Anna here, he would go just as easily. I don't think I have to be here to meet him off the bus. If it was Anna, he'd be just as fine. I don't think we need me here as an insurance policy to drive him to school, because we only ever had to do that once the whole time. So I think I definitely would have gone back to teaching by now. But thankfully, because of the awesome support of all you wonderful people, both here on YouTube and on Patreon and through the merch store and all these other places that you've basically allowed our family to live our dream for a couple of years, thanks to the support of all of you wonderful people, I'm able to pursue this was the dream. When I first started YouTube, I could only fantasize about the possibility of doing it as a full-time job. And now, because of circumstances forcing me into leaving my real job, I was able to give this the time it needed to have a fair crack of the whip. And thankfully this came off. So hopefully, like I say, I get to do this forever now, because it is living the dream. And then last question is from Ben Ryan, who says, does Andy like planes, or does he just like trains, trams and buses? He does like planes. And that is where we're going to leave this Q&A and today's vlog. Like I said at the start, if we didn't get around to answering your question, just leave it again in the comments to this video. And then when we do our next Q&A, we can have a look back at these comments and pick some questions out of here if they get loads of thumbs ups and it becomes clear that lots of people want to hear them answered. But we will wrap the Q&A and the vlog up there. Tomorrow we have the return of Andy. We're picking him up from his respite early in the morning, plus Anna's off tomorrow as well, so it won't just be me tomorrow. Don't panic, those of you who prefer the rest of the family. We've got a chunk of them back tomorrow and even more of them back towards the end of the week. But I will say goodbye for now. I hope you have enjoyed this Q&A. If you have, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for more daily vlogs, and thank you very much for watching.